I recently rewatched the Lord of the Rings movies, and although they are more than 20 years old now, they're still one of my favorite fantasy movies. So I thought we could have a little chat about Tolkien's world building and his maps while I make this fantasy bookmark inspired by Arwen's Even Star necklace. In my last video, I practiced drawing mountains to become better at making fantasy watercolor maps. I got a couple of pieces of paper left, which I thought I could turn into a bookmark. I started by printing a couple of pictures from the movie and made a rough sketch of Arwen's necklace. Also, for those who are interested, I've added a step-by-step description on how I made this bookmark, together with a list of art supplies in the comment section below. One thing that I believe is the reason for why we love Lord of the Rings, besides the character's journey of course, is the amazing fantasy world that Tolkien created. Both elves and dwarves are part of the European folklore and tales, but Tolkien made them unique in his own way. And I believe that in combination with his world building skills, that's what makes Middle-earth so special. One of my favorite quotes in Lord of the Rings are, "I would rather share one lifetime with you than face all of the ages of this world alone," by Arwen. Most of you probably know that Tolkien was a language professor and he lived here in Oxford for many years. For his books he created more than 15 languages and dialects, including the Elvish language Quenya, Aduniac, which was spoken by the Numenors, as well as Black speech, Entish, and the Dwarven language of Khosdol. Tolkien also made several maps over Middle-earth to keep track of the Fellowship's journey and the different regions. An interesting fact is that the traditional map that we see in all the books were actually drawn by his son Christopher Tolkien, and the maps in the movies were made by the Canadian illustrator John Howe. From a scientific point of view, and in a geological sense, the Middle-earth map has several flaws. For example, the mountain ridges are shaped in an illogical way, but it neatly surrounds Mordor. Also, the river system is kind of flawed and the map lacks scale. But nevertheless, the Middle-earth maps does something incredibly amazing. It creates a bridge between fantasy and gives the reader a sense of reality and a strong belief that Middle-earth is, in fact, a real place. Which, to some of us with vivid imagination, it kind of is. So, while Tolkien's strength wasn't in map making, his world is unique because of the people who live there. They come from wildly different cultures and have dissimilar ethnicities, and they all have different goals, fears, and flaws. The world feels real because it already has a history, and together with the songs and beautiful poems in different languages that Tolkien created, it makes his world come alive. The people in Middle-earth are complex, and so is their relationship with each other. For example, Legolas doesn't like Gimli initially because he's a dwarf. However, as the story progresses, they slowly begin to trust each other and become friends. Aragorn and Boromir have a similar character's journey, although it is of course more tragic. When Boromir is dying, he admits to Aragorn that he would have followed him as a fellow brother and king. I love the way that Tolkien is using how people and the culture is connected with different landscapes. The Shire is a farming countryside landscape with merry hills and cute underground cottages. In contrast, Rohan, which is also called the Riddermark, consists of open terrain which is perfect for riders and cavalry. And finally, Mordor is a desolate place where nothing lives and evil rules. This type of logical world building is something that I really like, and it's something that I've used a lot when it comes to creating Eastern Faraway for my books. Since then, fantasy authors such as Ursula Le Guin, Robert Jordan and Robin Hobb and others have included a map in their fantasy books. Maps are also included in historical and alternative history novels, as well as other genres. These are the final Elven bookmarks that I made, and I think they turned out really well. I decided to do several bookmarks because I wanted to experiment a little bit with the watercolor paint, and it also makes me less scared of making mistakes. If you want to talk more about fantasy books and world building, feel free to leave a comment below. Also, to every one of the 171 people who have subscribed to my channel, thank you so much for your support. You are awesome. And remember, not all those who wander are lost.